AI is everywhere right now. Every week, there's a new model, a new feature, a new nibble that looks revolutionary. And honestly, most of it is just noise. So in this video, I'm not going to list everything that happened in AI. I'm going to share 4 AI trends that actually matter in 2026. Not because they sound cool, but because they change how we work, think, and build things. These are not trends I picked from Twitter hype. They are based on how I personally use AI every single day, plus patterns I'm seeing across serious builders, teams, and tools that actually ship. And yes, if you strongly disagree with any of my points, you are free to blame me, and I can take it. Before we talk about what really matters now, we need to zoom out for a second and look at how the AI games have evolved over the last 2 years, because the roles have changed more than once. Phase 1 is somewhere between 2023 and 2024. Back then, most of us were still AI users, not AI builders. Chatbots were basically the only interface. You asked a question, you got an answer. AI was reactive, passive, and that's why prompt engineering became such a big deal, because better prompts were the only way to squeeze more value out of the model. But the phase didn't last long. Phase 2 started from 2025. This is when agentic AI started to enter real workflows. AI stopped being just a chat window and started behaving more like a collaborator. At the same time, multimodality exploded. Text, images, audio, real conversation, all in one place. ChatGPT upgraded fast. Gemini caught up. DeepSeek shocked the market with its chaining approach and open source discussion. The competition became intense and the features were released almost weekly. But here's a key point. Starting from this year, most of those feature updates no longer matter because the game has changed again. And that's exactly what this video is about. So now that we've established the game has changed, let's talk about the first trend that truly matters in 2026. AI agents are going to be integrated deeper and deeper into our daily workflows, and this shift is much bigger than just the AI tools getting better. Traditionally, companies operate with standardized tools and channels for everyone. Slack for communication, Gmail for emails, Dataiku or Databricks for developers. From a company's perspective, this makes total sense. It's efficient, manageable, and scalable. But from an individual's perspective, it's actually quite limiting because here's the truth. No 2 roles have the same workflow, and no 2 people solve problems in exactly the same way. This is exactly where AI agents start to change things by helping us build personalized, automated tool chains instead of forcing everyone into the same rigid system. Take a project manager. Their typical workflow looks something like this: gathering business goals, defining scope and milestones, scheduling meetings, coordinating between business analysts, data engineers, and stakeholders, tracking progress, and escalating risks when something goes wrong. A huge part of this job is repetitive documentation, information syncing, and meetings, which is exhausting and honestly not where the real value is. Now, imagine this workflow powered by AI agents. Internal data from Gmail, Slack, and shared documents is first fed into ChatGPT, acting as business intake agent. It tracks objectives, identifies missing information, and asks clarifying questions. The output is then neatly structured into an Excel file. The file is passed to Gemini, acting as a planning agent, which defines deliverables, estimates effort, and automatically generates milestones and timelines. Next, DeepSeek steps in as a coordination agent, assigning tasks to business analysts, data engineers, and data analysts, while also detecting dependencies and potential conflicts. Finally, a validation agent continuously tracks progress, flags risks, and reports status updates. The project manager is no longer buried in admin work. They are focused on decision making. Now, let me switch to my own role as data engineer, because this is where it gets very real for me. My automated workflow could look like this. Microsoft Copilot gathers raw input from Outlook and Teams, translating messy requests into clear business requirements in Excel. That structured input is passed to a pipeline design agent, which proposes schemas, selects ETL patterns, and designs dependency graphs. Then, a code generation agent helps with writing SQL queries, generating Python frameworks, inserting logging and error handling, and even create a unit test. After that, a validation agent checks data quality, detects anomalies, and flags pipeline breaks. And finally, a documentation agent generates technical document directly from the code. This is just two examples, but the pattern is the same. No matter what role you have, AI agents will increasingly be woven into your workflow. Instead of one-size-fits-all tools, we will each have a personal tool chains customized to how we actually work. And once we experience that level of personalization, there's really no going back. So if trend number 1 is about personalized workflows, then trend number 2 is the natural consequences of that. Thanks to agentic AI, there will be more and more AI builders in the market. The barrier to entry is dropping fast. This will absolutely narrow the gap between people with and without technical background. But I think something more interesting is happening. The focus is shifting from whether you can build with AI to whether you can build well with AI. One word apart, but a huge difference. Before agentic AI, building website or application usually required a full team, front-end developers, back-end developers, QA, maybe a project manager. Even if everyone works 8 hours per day, shipping a decent product often took weeks or months. That was the traditional model. Agentic AI is reshaping this completely. Today, tools like Cursor, Windsurf, GitHub Copilot, Replit, Lovable, Manus, and Devin allow a single person or a very small team to do work that previously required an entire engineering department. Just a few days ago, I randomly chatted with a software developer in a coffee shop. He told me that around 80% of his code is now written by Cursor, and he genuinely believes that a small team without formal software engineering background can ship a real product in just a few days. That would have sounded insane 2 years ago. By the end of 2025, there were already around 212,000 AI-related companies, and roughly 1/3 of them were AI startups. And yes, you probably hear comments like 80% of AI startups will die this year. Honestly, that's not surprising at all. Most startups in any industry die. AI is not special in that sense, but here is a part that's special. For the first time in history, we can use human natural language to directly command massive computing power. That's epic shit. Because of this, simply having an AI build MVP is no longer impressive. A basic website built with Cursor that works when you click around, cool, but that's quickly becoming table stakes. You might build it for fun, you might build it to prove you can build something with agentic AI, but what will truly set yourself apart from starting from 2026 is how you think, not how fast you generate code. Specifically, your architecture way of thinking. That means you can clearly identify what the market actually needs. You can translate that need into a small number of high-impact core features. You know how to reduce friction and design a good user experience. And your product manages context well so that it actually understands its users over time. Agentic AI can help you execute, but it can't decide what is worth building for you. So in the end, the question is no longer can you build something with AI, it's can you build something well? And that distinction will matter more and more from 2026 onwards. So if trend number 2 is about more people being able to build, then trend number 3 is about AI finally understanding what you are building. In 2026, AI will increasingly act as your professional context manager, thanks to LLMs being deeply embedded into our workflows. Standalone LLMs are cool, but they have one huge weakness. They don't know your context. They don't know the history of your project. They don't know what files depend on what. They don't know who worked on this before you, or why certain decisions were made. And this lack of context is a real headache for many LLM users. Think about how we use ChatGPT today. If you wanted to help with a real project, you first need to reconstruct the world for it, like a persona, task, context, references, tone, constraints. If you forget to include just one important detail, the answer can be completely off. Not because the model is bad, but because it's blind. This process is not only time-consuming, it's very mentally exhausting. You finally enter a state of flow, and then you have to switch tabs, rewrite context from scratch, and hope you didn't miss anything. Flow breaks, focus breaks. Now, here's where embedded AI changes everything. When AI is built directly into software, like Gemini in DOS, or Microsoft Copilot in Excel, Word, or VS Code, it stops just being a chatbot, it becomes a text scanner. Let me give you a real example from my own work. A business analyst on my team once asked me to fix a small issue in the output file. Some cells contained repetitive numbers and he wanted them merged, so stakeholders won't get confused. I first tried using DeepSeek as a standalone tool. I explained the problem in great detail, got a clean code snippet, and yes, the snippet worked in isolation, but once I plugged it into the project, it broke the input format in the later step. So I still had to manually adapt it to fit the rest of the code base. Then I switched to VS Code and let Copilot work inside the project itself. Because Copilot had full access to the project context, the fix took just a few minutes. The new code not only solved the original problem, but also integrates seamlessly with the existing pipeline. No downstream breaks, no surprises. That's the difference context makes. And this goes beyond coding. When I open Excel file, a Word document, or PowerPoint, whatever, Copilot isn't just answering questions. It tells me things like who worked on this file before, what they contributed, and how this file fits into the bigger project. If I'm new to this project, I no longer feel like I've been dropped into the middle of nowhere. I don't need to interrupt the colleagues with stupid questions just to understand basic background. The context is already there. So in 2026, the real leap is not smarter answers. It's AI that understands where you are, what you are doing, and why it matters. And once AI manages context for you, that's when it truly starts to feel like a qualified assistant, not just a tool. So if AI can manage your workflows and if we understand your context deeply, then chain number 4 is inevitable next step. AI will start behaving less like a tool and more like a qualified personal assistant or secretary. And to understand what that really means, let's talk about the role of a secretary. And this qualified secretary reports everything to the manager. Every email, every message, every request, they don't filter, they don't prioritize. They just forward information and ask for permission on every single decision. That doesn't save energy, it drains it. A qualified secretary does the opposite. They understand what actually matters to you. They know your priorities, and when necessary, they make decisions on your behalf. Their job is not to give you more information, it's to protect your attention. Now, apply this idea to AI. Imagine you receive 20 Slack messages, 40 emails, and 5 meeting requests in one day. This qualified AI assistant will summarize everything and dump it back on you. But starting from this year, a qualified AI assistant will say something like, out of these 40 emails, only 3 have real impact. Only 2 meetings require your attention today. The rest can be safely ignored or handled asynchronously. That's a completely different level of assistance. Or take a daily planning as another example. Instead of giving you a to-do list with everything on it, your AI assistant will help you cancel low-impact meetings and redirect your focus to Project X. Because, for example, rising customer churn is a stronger signal that needs your attention right now. Instead of asking you to accept, reject, reschedule, or delay meetings one by one, it will auto-approve high-priority requests, push back on meetings without clear agenda, and stress async updates where meetings are unnecessary. Less friction, fewer micro-decisions. Our attention is a scarce resource. It's normal that we miss bugs, customer complaints, or early signs of internal conflict. A good AI assistant absorbs chaoses and turns it into one clean narrative. It shields you from raw information and presents interpretation, not just the data. This is a real shift from, do you want me to do this, to, I already did XYZ, and here's why. From simple summarization to context compression. And that's when AI stops feeling like a software and starts feeling like a leverage. These are AI trends that I truly believe will matter in 2026. But I'm genuinely curious. Let me know in the comments if you see things differently. I read them and I learn a lot from them too. AI information right now is messy, it's chaotic, and honestly, that feeling of being overwhelmed, everyone has it. The good news is you are not behind. What will really set yourself apart is not talent, not background, not even speed. It's your willingness and dedication to keep learning AI, one small step at a time, every day. You don't need to master everything. You just need to stay curious and keep moving. So I hope you're enjoying this video. Keep building, keep experimenting, and keep up.